we're going to take some letters from the MK Mailbag. If you want to mail me, you can at Megyn. Just go email it at megyn at megynkelly.com. megyn at megynkelly.com. That's how you reach me. You can also sign up for our American News Minute, which only comes out on Fridays and is always worth your time. It's all the news of the week in 1 minute or less, plus some really fun clips and things you might have missed on the show. Everybody really enjoys it. So I think you will too. It doesn't cost you a thing, and keeps you up on the news in a very low-cost kind of way. Okay, so much mail. I think we broke the mailbag record on the Yeonmi Park interview, which aired last Friday. If you didn't hear it, please go listen to it. I promise you it will change your life. I promise. How many people can say that? I promise you it'll change your life. It'll change your dinner conversation that night. You'll want to tell everybody, you want to share it. I'm telling you, that's how much confidence I have in the Yeonmi Park interview. I'll just give you a couple of examples. Ellen writes in, the interview with Ms. Park left me speechless. Her story should be taught in schools. Listening to her really made me understand how sick our higher education system is. I have to work much harder and stay true to my convictions. Bill, with a similar sentiment, saying everyone in the U.S. should hear what it's like to live under an oppressed society. She was from North Korea. She escaped. And have to endure what this young woman and her mother experienced. Her appreciation and understanding for our country is amazing. For someone who's relatively new to the United States, she can clearly see that we are headed in the wrong direction. Here's just one other. Lori in Calgary writes in, wow, what a moving interview. I felt a flood of mixed emotions throughout it. God has his hand on that young lady. North America's got to wake up. My gosh, so true. So many people wrote in that they were fighting tears or that they did cry. Yeonmi too is more emotional than she's been in a lot of her interviews. You find a way of sort of packing that trauma up when you've been through so much of it. But we had such a beautiful exchange. She was moved. I was moved. The audience was moved. Worth your time. Okay. Last week, I was in Vegas for a couple of days. I was doing an event out there, and I decided to parlay it into a girls' trip. So there's this group of friends. In all, we are 7. And we met in New York when we were raising our young kids. All of our daughters in particular were in the same preschool together. And we call ourselves Joe Palooza because the first girls' trip we took was to celebrate our friend Joelle and her 40th birthday. So Joe Palooza went to Vegas, had a super great time, and 2 members of Joe Palooza came on with me, and you met them, Yael Denbo and Joel Cosentino. So got some fun feedback on them. Here's some examples. Valerie writes in, no group of people have more vacation fun than a group of women friends. The best part of the show was your message to women on how important it is to have kind, smart, and emotionally supportive women in your lives. This is the message we must pass on to our girls. Valerie, word. Can I tell you, as the audience may know, because I talk about this sometimes, I'm not great at this. Like I'm not great at pursuing my friends, and I'm actually not even that great at being pursued. I'm so busy with my show and my family that my friendships fall down first because of me. And my therapist, who I love, he recently told me, MK, he said, you've got to make a commitment to do at least 3 social things a week. Doesn't have to be like 3 dinners out. That's a lot, right? We can't do that. But like maybe it's just like a walk with somebody, or maybe it's a phone conversation even. Or like last night, I was in the city for the Ben Shapiro interview yesterday. And I'm in the city where I used to live. And so I called my friend. I'm like, hey, do you want to meet for a drink? I hadn't made the plan in advance. Sometimes that's risky. You can easily be rejected. She's like, sure. She was going out to dinner later with her husband. She said, I'll meet you. We had such a nice time. It was like an hour 15. Caught up. I felt the connection. I felt better. So my therapist is right, and you guys should give it a try too. Here are a couple questions. Kyla in Tennessee writes in about motherhood. She writes, I am currently pregnant with our first child. Congrats, Kyla. A longtime listener, and I wonder if my son will find your voice more recognizable than my own. Haha. In all seriousness, any advice for a first-time mom? You know what, Kyla? I can tell you that Abby's children have had the same problem. And the little one, Lillian, is just like me. It's a blessing and a curse. So good luck with your son. The only piece of advice I have for you as a first-time mom is don't be too hard on yourself. Many of us struggled with that first year or 2 and didn't particularly love it. And it doesn't mean you're a bad mom. It just means you're a regular mom struggling with the regular challenges that come with a new baby. Do not believe, 70s reference, the Breck commercial. That is not what it looks like. It's hard and they spit up on you and they vomit on you and they crap on you, but it's amazing. It's amazing. And when they get a little older, it's easier and they're so fun and they're so fulfilling. Don't listen to Chelsea Handler. Having a child was a great idea and it only gets better. One of our sponsors today is Donors Trust, the principled, tax-friendly way to simplify your charitable giving. Cancel culture doesn't just affect comedians and commentators anymore. It also affects everyday hardworking Americans. How? Well, it derails their charitable giving, believe it or not. Take Jeannie's story, for example. Jeannie did her charitable giving through one of these big national donor-advised fund providers. That is, until, without a clear reason, it refused to send her money, her charitable dollars, to a conservative nonprofit. Can you imagine how mad you'd be? She writes in, I'm a conservative. I believe America's great despite her imperfections, and that capitalism brings great good to society rather than government. Earlier this year, I requested another gift from my donor-advised fund, and it was rejected. Jeannie wanted a donor-advised fund that shares her conservative principles, and she found it in Donors Trust, the oldest and largest donor-advised fund committed to limited government. Do you want a principal partner helping you support causes close to your heart? If so, consider opening a donor-advised fund with Donors Trust. For more info on how Donors Trust can help, visit donorstrust.org/MK, DONORS trust.org/MK to receive a free copy of their donor prospectus. donorstrust.org/MK. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.